Pleasant good morning to one and all. Pleasant good morning. Welcome to today's episode, the Wednesday's episode of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption, Incompetence. Welcome. Today is Wednesday, the 26th day of March, 2025. Welcome one and all. Share the live. Let them know that we are on. And as usual, we have lots to discuss. We have lots to tell you this morning. Share the live. And we're going to get on with it. Now, my colleague, as is customary, is already in the studio waiting for us to get rolling. The program was scheduled just about 6:59 to be precise. And as usual, from the time that school gate was open, the students were in the schoolyard. We're going to do the usual thing. We're going to do the roll call. We're going to make the announcements, and then we're going to get into the meat of the program. In the meanwhile, I encourage you to share the live, and give us our thumbs up. Give us the thumbs up, show your appreciation. Wednesday, the 26th day of March, 2025, another day that the Lord has made. Let's rejoice and be glad in it. Let's give praise and thanks for being in the land of the living. As we say, it is a privilege to be in the land of the living, and we must sing praises to the Almighty for allowing us this privilege to be in the land. Many people have not been this fortunate. So give praise, show your appreciation by giving us the thumbs up, and we're going to get with it in a short while. You know, I am convinced that a certain man moved down from the hills in the morning or overnight, and he's right at the school gate, that man from the hills. So as soon as the gate open, you run in the schoolyard. You want to be first. And then the other students will follow him shortly after. Yeah, so we have lots of students. Let me say this before I go any further. We are, again today, I think we had more students than we had on Monday. And I said Monday we were posting a record. Today, I need to compliment and congratulate all the students for your attendance here this morning. And many of you were very, very early. That is good. People say they're playing in the schoolyard. People say they're practicing to shoot and scoot. All sorts of comments I'm hearing here, man. All sorts of comments I'm reading. So let's get on with the roll call, and then we're going to move into the announcements, and then we're going to roll. As I intimated, the first man in this morning, Barlet again, 6:59, he came in. The program was scheduled there a couple of seconds before 7 o'clock, and the man was in the schoolyard. The man was outside waiting, come down from the hills overnight. That's the only way he can be there that early. Barlet from the hills. Then we have Evelyn, Moses, they came at 7. Aubrey, Ezzy, Dexter, Carlton, Peter, Ulrich came early. The Conor Rookman, Clarence, Pastor Smith, 9339, Pastor Smith was here. And then shortly after, 701, Joan from New Amsterdam is here. Floyd, then is Lennox, Brian, Rawl is here. Vibert, the man from the East Bank, is here early. Kenneth is from Maryland. Vibert, this is the next Vibert. Wayne, Leon, Aileen is here with us. The next Wayne is from the UK. This Wayne is from the UK. John, Carl, then it was Vibert again. Orette, Marlon is here with us. Tessa High, she came in at 7:02. Tessa, you're a little late this time, girl. Anthony, the 11032, the man from Peters Hall and the East Bank. Terence from Canada is here, 9795. Courtney. Then it was Aubrey. Then Orin from the UK. Chicken is here with us. Compton. Pamela from West Dem. Pamela, when I saw that picture of your brother, then I remember him. Yes. I remember that we worked together at Sparndam many, many years ago. Desiree from Georgia. Maureen, Walterine, Felicia, Trati is here with us. Then it was Cecile, Ian, Vibert. This is the next Vibert, 9066. Lawson is here. Hazel, Pito, 8152 is here with us. Dorette, Sandra, Denise is here, still enjoying the good weather in Guyana. Then Magnell, Hazel, Lyndon, good to see you. Drexy is in the class. Or he was in the schoolyard at least. Earl, Fergus, Claire, Diane, then it was Lawrence, Barbara, Patricia, Malcolm, Marcus, Anthony, John, my friend, is here with me. Clifton from Paris is here. Annette, Marcus, Queenie, Brennan is here. Brenda, Lucius is here with us. Phil, Grantley, Pauline, Isabella, Glendis, Morton, Lyndon, Marcia, Maury is here. Francis Keith from Melanie, Uncle Paul, Onika, Kurt. Then it was Paulette, Cranston, Joy, True Guyanese. God recall seeing this student before. True Guyanese. I hope we all are true Guyanese. Denise, the secretary, is here. Benji is here with us. Roxanne, Marva, Melinda, 12538, Juna, Valerie, Sean, Roger, Leon, Clay, Michael, that's Michael Samuels. Then we have Michael, the man from Imbai Madai, is here with us too. Harold, Mary, Grace is here. Then it was Daddy is here. Clive from the UK, Gail from Florida, Anthony, Ronald, Keith from Barbados. This is what? Dor McLean, first time student again, at least first time in the chat. Claremont, Everett from Texas. Don is in the interior, 16560. Sagi is 9602. Claudius, Nigel, Siobhan, Connolly, Kerry from Maryland is here. Colin, Carol, the angel is here with us. Then we have Lynette from the UK, Kay, Winston from California, Kevin, Matthew, Princess Earl from the Lamar Springs. Then it was Royston, Rastaman, Jakey is here with us, Monica. And then after Monica is Neville, Patrick. Patrick, is you the same Patrick? I know Patrick Benjamin 9720. Let us know if you are the same person. Let us know. Vashni, Lance, Selwyn, Carl, my squad mate from Arizona, is here. Salima, Rhonda, Ralston. Then it was Albert 0892, Ainsworth, the Mark K, we call him. David, Smitty 9464. Smitty is here with us. Henrik. Then this is Lloyd, Yonet, Abera, Lyndon, Russ, Ricardo, Emerson, Bonita, Doreen, my squad mate, W349, Joseph, Siobhan. Then it was Glenda, Mark, Sandrine Baird. Then it is William, George, the countryman, 8218. Como is here with us. Rhonda Lane, then I'm still in the house. Terry, Heather is here with us. Sean, Chilo, Norbert, Karen, Samuel, Roy from upstate New York is here. Melville, then it was Lyndon, Neville, Elton, Alvin, Gordon, Simone, Vivian, Dion. This is the next Simone is here with us too. R. Crawford, Joy, David, Joyce rather, I said Joy, Joyce, David, Paulette, Simora. Then it was William, Colin, Alistair, Ovid, George, Father Masha, Lester, Marla, Vernon, Cedric, Lennox. Then it was Roxanne, Monica, Umi is here. Nicola, Charlene, Junior, Leslyn, another Junior is here with us too. Mark, Janella, Junior, another Junior. I get a lot of juniors in this class. Sharon, Kian, Lyndon. Then it was Denise, Julia, Dylan, Clay, Trevor, Claudius, Gloria, Kwame. It was the last man in the schoolyard. And then when the school door was open, as usual, Edward has regained his number one position. Carlton Popo is here. Desiree, Joyce Prince, Dion, Brandy. Then the list goes on and on and on. Joan, back here, Desmond, Ingrid, Altia. And the list goes on and on. The list goes on. So I told you, we do the roll call to make sure first we give other people the opportunity to get into the class, and to let you know that when we tell you we have this number of people there, we are bluffing. We can go through the list and call the name. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Share the live, as we say, share the live. Now let me make the announcements. We told you about the death of retired Assistant Commissioner Wilton Trotz. He was also a director of prison, and his funeral is on Friday coming. The details are that there will be a viewing at the Sunday's funeral home. I think it's from 9 o'clock in the morning, and then it will be the church service in Sidwell Anglican from 11 o'clock, and then he will be cremated at the Rhymesec Foreshore, West Coast, Demerara. There is a wake tonight. They said the 26th. I think it said the 26th of the Giant Service of the scheme. That is what it is said, but I'm not sure if it's tonight or tomorrow night. So you have to double check on that. And so that's Trotzy. We be given. I know he's gonna get a grand send off. Then we told you about that's to the death. We have others. I'm not gonna announce now. We are waiting for the details to give it to you. And for the happier announcements, we don't have any board day that we know about today. But before we go to the board day, I want to remind us all that today marks 378 days since Sergeant Alex Vaughn was shot and killed. On the 12th of March, 2024, he was shot and killed. The police came out to the release to say it was friendly fire, some mistake by some constable, they said, and then the constable was placed under close arrest. Postmortem showed that he had 3 wounds. So I don't know how 3 wounds can be accident, but they are silent since then. We haven't heard anything more. I have not heard anything more, and we're going to keep reminding the public about this incident where a sergeant of police is shot and killed in the line of duty, and the administration is silent about it. And then some recent birthdays. Ulrich, who's on the live, he had a birthday yesterday. It was good to see that he was able to get up this morning and be in the classroom very early. Patricia Gravesandi had a birthday yesterday too. She's in the classroom. And then we had a recent birthday of retired Inspector Jeffrey Lane. I remember Jeffrey well. He had a birthday recently. My squad mate, Barbara King, W364, we used to call her Wendy. She had a birthday recently. Michael Sturge, the man from Imbai Madai, who is on the live here now. He had a birthday, I think it was yesterday. And for the upcoming birthdays, Advanced John Wilkinson, old detective, is celebrated, I think, tomorrow. William Leach is also observing shortly. We have Deborah Small. I think she was a retired policewoman. She's celebrating soon. I said Leach recently, but he is celebrating shortly. And then we have one of the students, Maureen. She is celebrating tomorrow as well. So happy birthday greetings to all those who are celebrating today, who celebrated recently, and who are celebrated in the near future. Wish you Godspeed, God's blessings, happiness, prosperity, and long life. Then we have, let me see. Well, those are the announcements for now. I got to tell you, cricket in the air, and I know they have a lot of cricket fans. Monday during the program, there was a match going on. There's a match going on. And, as we told you during the program, you see, we glanced in. I get my iPad nearby, so I glanced to keep up to date with the score. But by the time the program finished, I said, this is an anticlimax because they can't chase these runs. Can't remember the name of the team. They can't chase the runs. But, as an ardent fan, I continue to look. Oh, man, oh, man, oh, my, oh, my. That has to be one of the best T20 chases we ever had. These people chase down these runs with 9 wickets down and shock the other team and shock a lot of cricket fans and so on. So, yeah, cricket in the air right now. There's a match going on. I see a T just get out quickly. He ain't firing. Yesterday, we had another guy, this boy, Rutherford, made some runs, but in a losing cause. And that is what we have. In terms of cricket, too, we got a word yesterday for those cricket fans that our West Indian umpire on the ICC elite panel, Joel Wilson from Trinidad, he has been removed from the panel. He and an Englishman, Michael Goff, have been removed and replaced by someone else. The standard of this is very, very high. And they get this assessment. And Joel, my friend, is no longer on that elite panel. So I told you earlier, I think get out at see, I think he's not out as yet. I'm misleading you there. I think he out yet. And I missed a birthday, a very important birthday I missed. My brother-in-law, Dr. Selwyn Waterton, he is celebrating a birthday today. So Selwyn, I want to wish you, and my apologies for not announcing it in the regular thing. I got to bring you in after, but you deserve to be mentioned, and I am mentioning you. Let me bring in CC. I know CC, we're gonna be this. But CC, welcome, my brother.
Thank you. Happy to be in the land of the living. I thought you forgotten me because you didn't mention me up front. Anyway, we all in the land of the living to do God's work. Like you, I'm concerned about Alex Vaughn, sergeant who was killed along in the line of duty. I understand his family, so far, they have not received any death benefits. And then again, $1 million. And I since early 2000, it's time that they increase it. It's time that the joint services or the police force fight to increase that amount. And birthday greetings to Ulrich. And I want to be funny. I'm sure he had some duck curry because I remember when he used to play cricket for the Guyana Police Force, he made a lot of ducks. So for us by now, if he still get the ducks, he could curry them and enjoy duck curry.
I like that thing at Ulrich. Ulrich, let me give you a joke on Ulrich, man. We playing in the police officers. We were all in the police officers team, and we came up against the QC old students at Torres Park. Torres Park is a small ground. I batted, and Ulrich came in at the last man. Ulrich came in at the last man. I had the one in. Now Ulrich coming off for something like 3 consecutive ducks. And Ulrich come in. We needed like about 16 or 17. I can't remember the exact score. I got to Ulrich and said, Ulrich, oh, buddy, just black. I think he had one. I said, just black this one, ball. Oh, just black, and I can do the rest. I'm squeezing. Got this man coming off a series of ducks, I said, oh, Ulrich, black, I beg, Ulrich, I beg. Bye, and Ulrich, black. Ulrich survived. And I did the rest of the other end. We won the match. I did the next of the other end. And it was a match with a lot of prize. They had cash prize donated by Citizens Bank and trophy. Of course, I got the man of the match and that. So Ulrich was responsible to some extent for that. So yeah. I remember Ulrich well. And I remember Ulrich too. Ulrich played domino. Ulrich, forgive me. Attacking your story, man. So we used to play domino, the officers' mess. And we used to say, look, you ain't paying for free. You got to buy drinks. Right? So Ulrich covered, Ulrich started up. Me, the commissioner, like Lewis, you have people like Pablo Yewood, John, all the way. So here, Lewis Torty, I said, you know the game? Here, yes, sir, Mr. Sloke can vouch for me. I said, yes, sir, he's a very good Davido player. Allow me to play. Ulrich come here, give a 3 or 4 straight love. Ulrich, do you remember that at the officers' mess, not at the Eastern end? So we taking a dig at you now, but in good spirit. We taking a dig in good spirit. Yeah, so my friend Ulrich had a birthday yesterday. But you remember these things. Now let me go on to the program. I need to remind us that we are still in the Lenten period for those of us Christians who are observing Lent, and for our Muslim brother still in the month of Ramadan. But I see some people with at least Muslim names. I don't think they are practicing Muslim with some of the things they are doing. They can be real practicing Muslim, but there's them. Everybody got to answer for his own stewardship on the face of the earth. So when they answer to whether you believe in God, whether it's Allah, whoever it is, the time will come for us to answer. You're not gonna be here forever. Now, let me start off with this one. I heard yesterday, they had this what they call it, this solidarity get together at the Square of the Revolution for Melly Mel. And I heard a statement made yesterday. I hope that people will come out and debunk this statement. And what it says, I think it was Coretta McDonald who made the statement. She was talking about the cash grant. I told y'all that I experienced some discrimination, even though it was positive in my favor for this cash grant, in that I registered on the 20th of February, and on the 2nd day of March, less than 2 weeks after, I got a call, and the people said, Amma brought the check to my residence. Special treatment. I don't know what I did to deserve the special treatment. But the statement yesterday Coretta McDowell said that the leader of the opposition, Compton Aubrey Norton, did not register for the cash grant, but a check cut fee. That's what she said. I hope that the people will debunk that. They're claiming that he hadn't registered for this cash grant. That is a statement made. But check cut fee. I don't know if you collect the check, but they said check cut for the same man who did not register. I told y'all, and people have been saying, this thing is fraught with all sorts of problems, discrimination. I suspect thieving can take place. We talk about corruption, incompetence. The thing might be open to corruption and incompetence. But based on what they were saying, I can't understand our man who was not registered for this cash grant, the cash grant check fee. I can't understand that. That is what is being said. And I say with hope that the people who are responsible will come out and tell me, no, that is not so. And of course, produce evidence to show that that is not so. I can't, I mean, say, because at the end of the day, too, yeah, Carl, there must be setting me up. But if that is done, I made this clear. I benefited from the discrimination, but I say, well, if me, Paul Slow, who they after, can benefit in that manner, imagine the friends, families, and favorite. Imagine the friends, family, and favorite. What gonna happen to them? Right? Now, let me bring in Mr. Conway to make a comment on that before we move on. See, I heard that thing yesterday. I don't know if you heard it, but I said what Coretta McDowell said, that the opposition leader did not register, but a check cut fee. What are your views on that, my brother?
Well, a lot of irregularities and a lot of corruption took place, Because even to me, I was the general manager for the NIS saying that those who not registered, they can't draw money, can't draw any check there. And the next day, through a source, I go right then and me and my wife and we get me money. So a lot of irregularities going on in place. Friends, family, favorites, and flatterers. They were the place there. And you're going to hear later on, big, massive fraud, and then nothing will be done about it.
Yeah, but a man said, yes, you heard him saying that himself. Let me answer this, man. Look, I'm putting up this thing, CC. Read it, man. Marvin Samarsal. I remember Marvin was a police. He said, I was very scared of him when he had a cricket ball in the hand. Samarsal is quick, but I remember Samarsal, if you recall, we play a match at Evelary Ground. I edge and get dropped in the slips, and thereafter you put some good straight drive on you. You remember that thing? Some good straight drive, you have to move your ankle out of the way. Ball race back past the ground for 4. I remember those things too. So you remember, you said I was scared of you. We are scared of nobody, because of course you got to be cautious, because in them days we had helmet and all them everything. And I must admit that you were very, very quick. I think you get called up for trials in the national team and all of that. But I remember bracing you back past you with 4 runs, man. I remember that. What comment on that, Samuel? If you remember that, comment on that. That's the light-hearted part of the thing. Yeah, let me go on to some more serious stuff. Share the life. We spoke about ropesmen and the comment from the fire officer, and we're gonna deal with that just now. But I just want to tell y'all that Ben, it might come to ministers. Ben is not alone. I'm gonna play a short tape for you, and then we're gonna comment on it at the other side. This is a tape, a short video of the Minister of Labor, Joseph Hamilton. Well, he's from Triumph, but when you're from BV, you're from Triumph, everybody just call you BV people. So I can't disown you as a countryman. He's from the area, he's from the country area. Joseph Hamilton. We knew him as Pillory Joe. Right? Let me play this tape, and then CC and I will make comments after the tape. Listen to it. It's not a minute long.
Bakewell, the bread people, she came to see me. Actually, all the staff she has now, all the people now baking Bakewell bread that you're eating, are from Cuba. You didn't know that, let me tell you. All, actually. Our concern was, Minister, would I get into trouble because of the document issue? My position was, once you pay them and take advantage of them, trust me, you'll get into no trouble. Because we have to eat bread. You can't wait for the guy in his work who will not come to work. When they go and hang out with Vice Cartel, 2 days they lost. They not come back. They go and sport with Borman, right? You in trouble, no bread, gonna bake. I'm glad y'all could laugh. I'm talking about what is real here.
Now, that statement, I find that statement so offensive. I understand that the minister, Pelori Joe, did make an apology afterwards. But you know, old people say, is beg pardon and sorry, make little bite as much big man foot. The words were already uttered. And the offensive part for me is when he tell you, when they got the Vibes Cartel at Bormabai, then coming to work the next day. That is directed at one set of people. Because who will go to Vibes Cartel and who will go to Bormabai show? Black people. So basically what this man is saying, the Minister of Labor is telling us that people can't agree with them not employing black people because when they go to these shows, right, they're coming to work the next day. That is what this man is saying. And I find that so offensive. Because when I drive around town, I see some young black men hustling with some cool-down cart. I saw a man in Rob Street not so long ago. The man he's selling, he got scale on this thing. He's selling onion and garlic, hustling to make a living. And this minister can tell the Guyanese public, basically we say that even if these people are illegal, the Cubans, the Venezuelans, the Brazilians are illegal. Once you pay them, I ain't got no problem. You got to eat bread. So do whatever you got to do to make sure that you eat bread. Because if you imply, this is how I interpreted it. If you imply black people, they got the Bomber Boy show, they got the Vibes Cartel, then you don't get bread for bake because they are coming to work the next day. I find that so offensive. And I am disappointed that apart from the apology, the politicians and these people, even the ethnic relations, that should have been reported to them for them to investigate. There's a loaded statement by the Minister of Labor. The Minister of Labor, Joseph Pelori Joe Hamilton. And you know, I'm not surprised, you know, because y'all know Joe. I know Joe very well. Joe used to be, I remember, he was the PNC. Then he was one of Rabbi Washington's disciples. Then he been back to PNC. Then he was with GGG, Good and Green for Guyana with Hamilton Green. And then he gone to PPP. It's all over the place, the man there. He used to be with the dashiki, or they call dashakikini, selling plantain chip around Georgetown. That same Joe Hamilton. And he can come now to tell people, the people, once you pay them, no problem, because if you employ black people, they're going to go to Vibes Cartel, they're going to go to Burma Bay, and they're going to come to work the next day. That is what I interpret that to be. Because as I say again, if you get Vibes Cartel show, and you get Burma Bay show, it's black people going to that show. Predominantly, 99% of the people who are going to be there are black people. And why I understand him to be saying is that they're going to go to the show and they're coming to work the next day. So don't imply them. So offensive. CC, let me hear your view on that statement, man.
Well, Paul, I concur with you, you know. There's a statement, you know, some hasty generalization that people go to Bonabai and Vice Cartel and then come to work for 2 days. And then if you look deep in it, those people we're talking about, the Cubans, they are undocumented. They get trouble with their documents. So I mean, for say they ain't get things like work permit. And I remember I used to have to deal with work permit when I was working for a large scale foreign mining company. And you had to get work permit. And it's being dealt by the Home Affairs. And let's say Ministerial Labor had an input in it. And looking forward to it when they don't have work permit, they don't have proper documentation, they're not going to pay any tax. And they're not going to pay no NIS. So there's a whole lot of issues that he accommodating there. He allowing them to break the law. They're not going to pay NIS. They're not going to pay no tax to GRA because they won't get proper documentation and they're going to work in Guyana and they don't have work permit. when the Ministry of Labor does look at work permit, the Ministry of Home Affairs does look at work permit. So it is a horrible statement to be for a minister to be making, hasty generalization. You just take a broad brush and brush all them black people. Just push all them aside there. And apology they die, he already cast a die. So no apology can work in this situation. Horrible, man.
Yeah, and the next thing is many of these shows, who you think bringing these people for these shows? It's the people who are, and the government support, Ministry of Culture support a lot of these shows, financially and otherwise. So if he knows that this thing has this type of effect on the workforce, why they continue to allow them to come? Why? Again, I say I find the statement so damn offensive, right? So offensive that black people are not going to walk after they got a show and all this type of thing. That is what that man, Pilori Joe, is saying. And again, I would hope that he made a statement not so long ago. I would hope people would take it up. He apologized, but I said, is beg pardon and sorry, make little boy just mash big man foot. That's what old people say. You mash your foot, sometimes deliberately, and you just say, beg pardon or sorry, and then you believe all is all gone. It is wiped off. Offensive statement by, let me say this. In America, Donald Trump used to refer to some Republicans as rhinos, R-I-N-O, Republicans in name only. That's what they used to refer them, Republicans in name only. But for Alec E, he's a BICO, B-I-C-O, black in color only. That's my I put that together. BICO, B-I-C-O, is black in color only, to be making such an offensive statement directed at black people. Such an offensive statement. Now let me move on, because the thing upset me when I read it, The thing upset me terribly when I read it. Now, on the last program, we told you about the fireman Neville Carmage, who came out and spoke about the action. A man told me last night, the man said, I didn't believe in all that Combat said, that he once mentioned Robeson name. But even though he did not mention the name, I think everybody know who he was talking to. I can't remember if he did mention the name, but the person who spoke to him might have been correct, that he never mentioned the name, but everybody know who he was talking to or talking about, right? Everyone know who he was talking about. And I told y'all, shortly after, I think it was sometime, today is Wednesday, Monday afternoon or yesterday morning might have been, the fire service came out with a statement. Fire service came out with a statement. Let me read the statement that they came out with. It says, disclaimer of alleged allegations of fire operations interference. That's the headline. Disclaimer of alleged allegations of fire operations interference. And here what it says. The Guyana Fire Service, GFS, has noted the remarks made by one of its members, section leader Neville Comabach, on Saturday, March 22nd, 2025, on his Facebook Live, which raises concerns about the Honorable Minister of Home Affairs, Robeson Ben, interference in the operations of firefighting. However, the Guyana Fire Service is clearly stating that the opinion and views of Section Leader Comabach does not represent the views of the leadership of the Fire Service and its members, but is only the view of Section Leader Comabach. That is the statement that come out with. And I say, I'm not surprised. Spineless people. Spineless. I post the thing on my Facebook with one word caption, spineless. Right? Because we have seen over and over where the minister interfering. I trying to find a tape. If anybody get it, please send it to me so I can share it to everybody. Where the minister was in Parade Street. It was February last year during the fire of the prison service bachelor's quarters there next to Theatre Gill. And the minister berating the senior people, fire people on the scene. You see me boots? My boots dirtier than yours. You should think, go in the thing, but get them, they should get asked, go to the source of the fire. He was instructing how the fire should be fought. They must go to the source of the fire. That is what he was saying. And I made the comment because I found that to be so foolish. How do you know the source of the fire? This is a conflagration that is going on. Something happening. And the minister telling them to instruct the fire people to go to the source of the fire. There's only one. One. The same fire. When the minister arrived there with the chief fire officer. And the minister berating me because the minister saying, I think I get a tape. The minister saying that, look, I should not hear about the fire before you, the fire officer. What nonsense is that? What nonsense? The fire officer don't immediately go and fight fire. I would have thought that the protocol is once I get a report of the fire, the first order of business is to dispatch the firefighters, the people who will go and tackle the fire. And then during the course, you're going to update the fire chief or the chief fire officer and all of them. If the minister happens to know before the fire chief, what is wrong with that? That is not necessarily a breakdown in the communication system. Not necessarily. Because I recall when I was Commander Borbies, McDonald was commissioner, and we had a similar discussion. I had to tell you what to tell you, because he was saying that incidents in Borbies were reported to politicians before I reported to you. So I said, what's wrong with that? I said, them politicians give people in the area the number. And for a time something happened, even before they report to the police, they call judge and them and tell them what happened. So what is wrong with the minister getting knowledge of it before the commander? I mean, that is not the ideal situation. But I still let me understand. I told McDonald that. I said, especially in Borbies, that has been my experience. Something happened, if you pick up the phone, they were encouraged to do that. Pick up the phone, call some minister. Minister knows even before the commander, even before they report to the police station. So it's the same thing. The fire chief is there. Something happens. A fire call goes into the operations room. I would have thought, I'm no firefighter like the minister, but I would have thought that the first priority is to dispatch the people who are going to go there to fight the fire. And then there must be some protocol that follows where the senior people in the fire service are going to be involved. Well, let me. I think I have a tape with him saying the same thing. Let me see. Let me see. This is part of the fight. Let me see.
Pass, and the fire service is making sure that everything. And this is the Minister of Home Affairs, Robeson Ben, and he's talking with the fire service.
You're not in control.
And
I cannot learn about the fire before you.
Minister Ben,
No comment.
you have no comment.
You see that there is a minister telling the chief fire officer that you're not in control, because he, the minister, should not learn about the fire before the chief fire officer. That is what is going on. Why you want to berate the chief fire officer in public like that? And then this is the same people now who come out to say that section leader Komabaj, the views he expressed on Saturday about the minister's interference is the view of section leader Komabaj alone, and does not represent the view of the senior people in the fire service or the other members in the fire service. But let me say this. When you look at the comments, 99% of the people, or perhaps even higher than that, agree with Komabaj. I told you all who Komabaj is. Komabaj could make a statement like that because Komabaj will be protected by the PPP. Komabaj is a big member in the PPP. Komabaj is the PPP representative on the BV Triumph Neighbor Democratic Council. He has been there for years. So even though when he run and he lose the thing, they put it there with the system you have, he will be the PPP's representative. Last Tuesday, Komabaj hosted a meeting at his residence, BV Sideline Dam, where Edgel and others spoke, a political meeting home at Komabaj. Komabaj is known to be on the PPP platform, political platform, campaigning. So when Komabaj made that statement, Cumberbatch could have done so because Cumberbatch knows that he get lines, he can be protected. But for the fire people to come out and to call out Cumberbatch in the manner they did, when they have not themselves, I made the point before, let me repeat it. Following what happened in Parade Street, where the minister was directing where things must go, they said people are alleging that something similar happened when the May fire a few weeks ago, where the fireman Mambo died. Now the minister not only turns up on these scenes, but he gives instructions how to go do this, do that, do that. And that is what the people are complaining about. Yesterday morning, there was a fire at Breedenoop, 3-something yesterday morning, Chinese place burned down. And Ben is there. Ben is there. I don't have any problem with the minister turning up at the fire scene, but based on what Cumberbatch is saying, you can't turn up and seek to direct the operations. Can't turn up and seek to direct the operations, and that is the problem. And for the fire service to come out now and to disclaimer, noted the remarks, and they're not associating themselves. I understand that you might not want to come out publicly and say you agree with Cumberbatch, but shut your mouth. The man get little stones, and the man can talk. What you all don't have? You don't have balls, you don't have spine. And I made the point too, perhaps it is because the chief fire officer has long past his retirement date. He's working now with the pleasure of the president. So therefore, he can't come out. He can't. So let me understand this thing clearly. Somebody tell me, I mentioned Kadaki just now. If I mentioned Kadaki around, oh, forgive me. Forgive me. They said the slip of the tongue is not the fault of the mind. Yeah, but it is wrong. For them to come out now and say, oh, we don't agree. Stay quiet. The man find little stones, and I show you, all y'all know that what the man says is true. All y'all know that what Cumberbatch said is true. And if you don't have the courage to say it, somebody come out and say it, stay quiet. Stay quiet. But let me see what will happen to Cumberbatch. My crystal ball saying that nothing can happen to you. No disciplinary action will be taken against him. They might call you quietly and say, man, you shouldn't do that, right? You shouldn't really do that, man. You got to be more prudent or something like that. They might even call you, you might even tell them, look, sorry, and all them type of thing, and so on. And that's going to be the end of it. But they dare not take any form action against Cumberbatch. They dare not take any form action against fireman, leading fire officer, whoever his rank is, Cumberbatch, following the remarks he made on Saturday. We shall see. Let me bring in Mr. Conway to get a piece of this Cumberbatch and Ben story. CC, what do you think about it, man?
Well, you said it all on Monday, and you didn't say that you look into the crystal ball. You give the facts. You give the facts, and you say, hey, nothing will happen to him because of his political association. There's our unknown association, his political activities. And they lo and behold, a statement come out and nonsense statement. It's better they didn't say anything. It's better they had remained silent. It's better they had a wall of silence. And then when you look at it, Ben giving instructions. And here we give instructions at Maze. And is it that 3 firemen got injured, 1 died? Is it that these firemen were instructed, you got to go closer to the building? Go closer to the building. You're too far away. Go closer to the building and put the hose there. And then a wall collapse. 1 died, two get serious injuries, You got to look at those things. Perhaps they need to have a proper investigation, an in-depth investigation on relation to circumstances surrounding the death of that fireman. Were they instructed to go very close to the building and don't stay far away? Those are issues that perhaps we got to look at. But the minister should look at policy, although I know he knows what is policy, and get out of operations work. Let the firemen who are trained to do their work do their work. There are techniques in terms of fire training. They train and they know when to put a hose, where to put a hose, and all kind of thing. They know when not to pour any water on this building because it is completely destroy, pour water anywhere. So I agree with you what you said on Monday, and it's come to pass that nothing will happen to that fireman Como badge.
Yeah, and I told you all about the about what the same fire at Parade Street. Let me read what was reported. Minister of Home Affairs Robeson arrived at the scene and after assessing the situation, upbraided senior fire officials about their conduct. Quote, you see my boots? It's dirtier than yours. You must be dressed just like a firefighter out there. Don't come dressed in this fancy uniform. Make sure your men have oxygen tank and they are directed to put the hose onto the source of the fire and have a sledge and axe to break into the source of the fire. End of quote. That's what he told them. I'm going to get the tape so you're going to know that we had misquoted. That's what he telling the people. You see my boots? It's dirtier than yours. That's what he's telling a senior man from the fire service in Parade Street in February last year. It's dirtier than yours. You must be dressed just like a firefighter out here. Don't come dressed in this fancy uniform. Make sure your men have oxygen tanks, and they are directed to put their hose onto the source of the fire and have a sledgehammer and axes to break into the source of the fire. That is what he's saying. And let me tell you, allegations were made earlier. Firemen said that certain people were allowed to go take home certain firefighting gear. So that if you're at home and you got a call of a fire, you have gears to put on and go straight to the scene of the fire. It is alleged that this administration then stop it. So nobody must carry firefighting clothes home. Right? So basically, when a man leaves, if a man leaves and he go, you ain't got no firefighting thing, what are you going to the fire to do? Maybe assist, but you can't get into proper action because he's not properly equipped, he's not properly dressed. So those are some of the things that Ben should look into. And as I've said, this here with Ben with the fire service, that is not the only thing. I'm going to play you a few tapes to let you assess the type of person Ben is. We played some before. We're going to play it again. Look at this.
Next question. Next question.
But what is the standard?
Next question. Madam, I have not read the reports, and I'm saying
satisfied with the
I am satisfied so far as to what was presented in the press, that 88 rounds were fired at a car, and nobody was injured, nor the car was struck.
Does it bring into question the SOPs of the government?
I'm waiting for the review by the OPR and the Commission Police on that aspect of it.
Yes.
I'm not commenting further on the matter.
But are the officers on the floor?
It is getting the attention of the OPR.
But can you confirm if the officers
I am not confirming anything. I'm telling you, it's under the OPR.
How are you dealing with the risk?
Police, who else has a question?
Minister,
Who else has a question?
she has a question.
Well, say it.
Are you satisfied?
You hear it there? You hear the man that's Ben. Hear him again here. Hear him again.
You who are out there, if they come, we got to shoot and scoot. And shoot good and scoot. And keep shooting and scooting until help arrives.
Shoot and scoot. There's a new drill. Shoot and scoot. Keep shooting and scooting. Hear more. Hear
In
more.
relation to gun crimes and the holding and having of illegal guns, we are not going to be doing any amnesty. Those who have guns and shouldn't have them should perhaps walk into the nearest police station and give them up, or put them somewhere where they could be given up. You're not supposed to have any illegal gun. The question of having an illegal gun, in most instances, has nothing to do with being somebody in the bush and wanting to shoot wild hogs or whatever, or to get protein for food. It has to do with criminal activity. It has to do with criminal activity. If you have an illegal gun, pass by the police station, put it in a bag and throw it in the yard.
Pass by the police station, put it in the bag, throw it in the yard. That is the action advised by the minister when you're dealing with illegal firearms. Hear him again. Hear him.
Police commanders and others who find themselves in authority must not think that arriving at the job, that they need to award and reward themselves and to walk around with plenty gold and diamonds around the neck and the fingers. If they have that, it means there are men who could be bought. I can buy you because that's what you like, and you flaunt it. It must stop. It must stop.
It must stop. Don't walk around with gold. So I come and get all this gold. If I had been a police officer, I might have been in trouble. You walk around with gold and diamond and so on. That is what is going on. That is what is going on. Is that a policy issue for the minister? Even let's assume that police officers, as he claimed, are walking around with jewelry. Is that a policy issue for the minister? Shouldn't that be an operational matter? I don't know. I'm asking the question. How the minister getting involved in something like that? Oh, Mr. Conway, let me bring you in, man. You get a way of unraveling these mysteries. Let me hear you on that.
Well, the more the man open his mouth, the more he talk a lot of nonsense. Perhaps I wonder if he's talking about Ejel, you know, when if he including Ejel when he talking about wearing gold and so and other people, you know, that I don't know, the minister so much of nonsense. He talk, you know, that you can't find words to really describe him, you know, and I think he should be on his way out, you know. I think he's gonna be on his way out. I'm certain he's on his way out, Paul.
And more than that, you know, as I said on Monday, I believe some Machiavellian principles are in play here with that statement made by Convaj. I got a strong suspicion that Convaj might have had, well, we know he had backing. Whether he was instructed to do so to call out the minister publicly, we don't know. But this thing has more to it than just that. Now, let me move on to another subject. You know, a couple of weeks ago, the vice president talked about, well, let me preface it by saying this. The man who is dominating their thought and their thinking and everything is Ashuddin Mohammed. He's giving them nightmares. Nightmare. Jack Dio said, well, you gonna shit a load of shit a bucket or something like that. But I could tell you, based on what we have seen, them shitting buckets. Because this man has been going around the country, all over, and the support has been overwhelming. This is a man who is not a politician, at least as yet, has not declared his intention to get into active politics. He's just going around meeting people and talking with people. The rumor is that he's going to get involved because he is very popular. I think the polls have shown that right now, Ashuddin Mohammed is perhaps the most popular individual in Guyana. Very popular. And that is causing them a lot of problems. So recently, I think it was yesterday, Ashuddin went on the quarantine. But you know, once he got to the quarantine, he went there before, he went to Blackbush. He went to other places. He went to Secable Coast. These people that PVP consider the stronghold. But the man got the people coming out to see and to interact with him. So yesterday, he went to quarantine course. And I have an article here, a short article that I read, that said the regional vice chairman resorts to violence as 10-day workers are forced to protest the meeting at Letterkenny. Ashuddin Mohammed went to Letterkenny, which is a place, a village on the quarantine coast, to meet with the people yesterday. And they are alleging, that's what this article is alleging, that the regional vice chairman organized the 10-day workers, you know, they have some 10-day workers, to go there, they bust them. The allegation is that they took them from New Amsterdam, the Freedom House, the PMC office in New Amsterdam, to this place there at Letterkenny to protest. And the video is on YouTube. The video is there, and assault took place, people pushing people and all that. But let me read on. What was intended to be a peaceful protest, let me read about. What was intended to be a peaceful democratic event quickly became chaotic when PPP supporters, led by Regional 6 Chairman, Regional 6 Vice Chairman Zamal Hussein, disrupted a meeting with residents of Letterkenny and A. Mohammed on Tuesday, that's yesterday. Although the businessman had been invited by the residents, his visit resulted in a standoff between a group of 10-day workers who were instructed to create a ruckus. Hussein, during the commotion, was ordering his agents to slap supporters of Team Mohammed, which resulted in an agent chucking his supporter. Team Mohammed confirmed that the protesters were not from Letterkenny, but were transported to the community by a bus from Freedom House, New Amsterdam. This disruption has become a common tactic of the PPP to prevent any interaction between Team Mohammed and the citizens. Despite those efforts to discourage him from engaging with the community and listening to their concerns, Mr. Mohammed remains undeterred. Tuesday's meeting followed this pattern, but despite the disruption, the residents were determined to share their daily struggles. That's yesterday. Now, yesterday's meeting, as far as I'm aware, was more raucous and a man was assaulted and all that than others. And I hope that the police and them try to nip this thing in the bud. Mohammed going around, meeting with people, and you want to protest, PPP want to organize protests, nothing wrong. You want to shout them down, I don't think anything wrong. That is a democratic right. But when you come to pushing and shoving people, that is unacceptable. And if, the election campaign and start yet, if they allow that to happen now without people facing consequences, this thing is going to deteriorate into violence. And let me read the next one here. Go bring in Mr. Conway. The role of the Regional 6 Chairman, this is credible source, the role of the Regional 6 Vice Chairman Zamal Hussein in the disruption of Azzuddin Mohammed's meeting at Letterkenny on Tuesday has drawn fresh scrutiny, with many questioning whether past incidents involving the politician have emboldened him. What was intended to be a peaceful engagement between Mohammed and the residents of Letterkenny escalated into chaos when a group of 10-day workers and councillors reportedly transported from Freedom House were directed to disrupt the meetings. During the commotion, Hussein was heard instructing his agent to physically confront Mohammed's supporters. One of his associates allegedly acted on this directive, resulted in an altercation. The disruption followed a pattern of political intimidation that Mohammed's team has encountered in multiple communities, where organized groups have sought to prevent his direct engagement with citizens. Despite these tactics, Mohammed remained undeterred, continuing to listen to residents' concern. However, this latest controversy surrounding Hussein has also revived question about his involvement in a 2021 fatal accident. Reports from Stabrook News at the time confirmed that on May 1, 2021, Hussein was driving a pickup that struck and killed Michael Enriques, a 42-year-old man from number 19 Quarantine. Hussein was allegedly taken to police custody, but was released after just one day on $50,000 bail. Police had stated that the vehicle PXX 3661 was being turned around when the driver felt the vehicle run over something. Hussein reportedly exited the vehicle and saw Enriques lying on the ground with severe head injuries. The victim later died in the New Amsterdam Public Hospital. Despite police confirming that the case file was sent to the Director of Public Prosecutions for legal advice, no updates have been provided on whether Hussein faced any legal consequences. The delay in justice has raised concern about whether the matter was quietly set aside. With Hussein now at the center of a politically charged incident in Letterkenny, many are asking, was justice ever served in the Enriques case? Was political influence shielded him from accountability? And if so, has this emboldened him to continue operating with impunity. As tension in Region 6 rise, these questions demand answers. So there's the same man, they're claiming, Hussein, who is the regional vice chairman. They said that he instructed the people them to assault people yesterday at Letterkenny. And now they're going back. There's a good thing about the records, you know. In this age, they're going back 2021. He drove a vehicle which killed some man. And the report is saying that up to now, he was initially in custody for 1 day, released on $50,000 bail. Think about that. And they said the file went to DPP. And up to now, obviously he was not charged, or was going to get charged. We don't know if an inquest was ordered, but up to now, nothing had happened. So the question is being asked, is he now emboldened? Because you kill a man, you're alleged to have killed a man with your vehicle, nothing can happen. So I guess you feel that if you assault people, nothing can happen as well. But as I've said before bringing Mr. Conway, as I've said, these things, this incident yesterday, need to be nipped in the bud. It needs to be nipped in the bud because they might attempt to do it other places where people are not going to take it lightly. And next we get big violence. Because I know everybody get gun now, you know. All them people get gun, it's legal gun and illegal. Next, you know, is a Wild West situation, man, drawing gun. I'm warning. This is something that the police should get involved in early. Take statements. The video is there. See the video, take statements, and deal with the matter now. Let me bring in Mr. Conway. CC, your views on this incident that we had yesterday.
Well, Borbit is awash with these 10-day workers, you know, and they're using them for political purposes. And if they don't turn up, they're threatening to dismiss them. They had a whole posse at Babujan, and they had them yesterday also. They're using them. Ministers going anywhere, they're filling up the place, hiring buses and them things, and get the neighborhood police there to the 10 days workers to support them. They're there. And this incident with the vice chairman, where they said he was involved in a fatal accident, it bringing him back to work, and apparently there is a serious cover-up. So apparently, like, history will repeat itself in terms of fatal accident. Remember, Superintendent Stanley involved in a fatal accident with his vehicle. A cyclist died. Cover-up, endless cover-up. Allegation that there is some other body blowing in the system, and they say zero alcohol, and cover-up because the persons who went to the scene, the first responders, what is sent to the police operation room, and what the police reveal are totally different in terms of what happened. And there it is, same Stanley involved in the fatal accident, and then with breakneck speed, they appointed him Commander Region 8, from a deputy commander to a Region 8. The investigation just even started there, the investigation, and gone to Commander Region 8. Cover up. Maybe the same thing will happen with the vice president, the vice chairman. Is the same thing going to happen with Stanley? Let's wait and see. And then I listened out to Mohammed going to Essequibo, you know, and where they did the same thing, trying to, you know, to stop him. Well, he had his own people there. There are people from the party there. And I want to make a remark, you know. She said the PPP and shit in buckets. They shit in black tanks. She said they shit in black tanks.
Sorry, I was on mute. Sorry, I was on mute because I was listening to. I was saying to you, I got distracted because I just saw the section leader Cumberbatch, Neville Cumberbatch, the man who made the statement calling out the minister on Saturday. He called him out on Saturday following that. Well, he made a live broadcast, and I just saw he is on social media now making a statement. I haven't gotten the opportunity to listen to it, but it's a little long. I think it's about 15 minutes. But from the way it started, I suspected he's doubling down. I don't know. So I will encourage you to go and listen to it yourself and to hear what this section leader is now saying as a follow-up to his statement on Saturday and the statement made yesterday by the fire service, where the disclaimer said that the statement Combat make a combat statement and not a statement on behalf of the leadership or the other ranks of the fire service. So I thought I'm going to listen to it when the program is finished. But that is what distracted me, and I muted the mic so that you won't be disturbed. And I forget to unmute it when I started to speak. So that is what it is about. Hope you all can hear me now. Hope you can hear me now. Copy is still saying no song. So let me hope that you can hear me. Sisi, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
All right. All right.
Hear you now.
You're hearing me now. All right, good. Okay, good. So I guess that the students are hearing as well. Y'all indicate that you're hearing me now. My apologies for that. My apologies for that. Now, coming back to this Mohammed issue. Yeah, thanks, Brennan. Thanks, Leroy. Coming back to this Ashuddin Mohammed issue. I said they're shitting buckets because this man is going around the place and he's getting the type of support people going out to hear him, and they're pledging their support to him, and he ain't gonna boss nobody in, you know. Apparently, they just announced we coming, and people turning out. The man went Kwakwani, the man went all over the place. The man go in charity, and every place that he goes, people are turning up in a large numbers to listen to him. Now, it might surprise you, but one Dharam Lal, y'all remember him? A man who was accused of rape and buggery, and the rape is not once, twice he was accused of rape. He was accused of buggery. He was accused of all kind of things. The man come out. Let me show you what the man. Again, look. This is something came out to him. Hear what the man is saying here now. You know the Secretary of State, U.S. Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, is supposed to be visiting Jamaica, Guyana, and Suriname. I think today he is in Jamaica, and I think based on what I've read, the Prime Minister of Trinidad, Prime Minister of Barbados, I'm not sure where else, should be meeting to interact with him on issues. But Darwin made a statement. He asked the U.S. Embassy in Guyana, right, to please ensure one of the agenda items is the extradition to the U.S. He said of the U.S. The extradition of the U.S. Is the extradition of the U.S. sanctioned father-son duo Nassar and Ashuddin Mohammed of Georgetown, Guyana. So he is calling for this to be on the agenda item. Now, I put it up there because I want to remind them again, it's not only the Mohammeds were sanctioned, but a senior government functionary in the form of Mayor Toussaint Thomas, who at the time was the permanent secretary of the Ministry of Home Affairs, the Ministry of National Security. She was sanctioned too. So Darmlal, why you calling for she if you want to this to be on the agenda? Why you don't want this to our name to be on the agenda too? Because remember all of them got sanctioned together. And according to what I remember, is that they say she involved in corruption, gun run, thing facilitating gun license, and all type of allegations were made against her. And remember, when I get the document someplace, apart from naming May Thomas, they claim that other government officials, they haven't sanctioned the other officials yet as far as I'm aware, but they say other government officials were involved in corruption too. So I want to say this to Nigeria, Amlal, be careful what you call for. Because remember, May Thomas, following the allegation, I remember even before the allegation, or even before the sanction, she was pulled in the US on her way to China. According to Jack Bill, she was going to do PPP business in China. She was pulled in, her phone or phones, I can't remember if it's more than one or two, seized, or visa canceled, and all of that. And so therefore, be careful what you ask for, because if they seize your phone, I get a suspicion, information in relation to your party, the PPP party, and all some of this skullduggery, likely to be on the phone, that the feds seized. I think they said sometime they returned the thing. And I think they had said then that they're going to make inquiry. They're going to ask the US about what the facts are and all of that. I know they get a thing yet. Because the same thing they said when the Mohammeds were seized, they're going to write for the facts. They can't start the investigation. They were waiting on the facts from the US. I think they wrote the State Department. They directed them to some other department. And I remember as a little boy, they used to, you get a thing, send the full folder. You write a little enclosed letter, and you send it to somebody. And when they open it, the letter reads, send the full folder. So the person will tell you, all right, go to this body now. And they keep you going around. I believe it's send the full folder is being thing there. So more, let me tell you something. A man like Dharamlal should go under that rock and remain there forever and ever. Amen. But I saw a picture over the weekend. The man there, the PVP at a meeting somewhere. The man is big in the thing there in the meeting. That's one. People are alleging that he's still getting pay and all of that. So he could come out now and he could say whatever he wants to say. But again, the Mohammeds were not the only ones sanctioned. May Thomas was sanctioned. May Thomas was or is a central executive member of the PPP, your party. And again, I say, be careful what you ask for. Let me bring Mr. Conway. CC, Dharamlal at it again, man. Like I said, be careful what you ask for.
As you said, you know, Dharamlal should remain on the ground. He's exposing himself all the time. All the time he's moving. And then it's not only the Mohammeds. Thomas was sanctioned also. Or is Animal Farm coming into play there? Some men are, all persons are equal, but some are more equal than others, you know. Dharamlal should remain silent for his own good. For his own good. And if you want to sanction the Mohammeds, sanction May Thomas too. Sanction May Thomas. And Dharamlal gotta be careful, because I hear more things piling up on Dharamlal. He better stay easy. He better stay easy.
But you know, some people can't. Some people can't stay. It's just like to be in the limelight. They just like to be in the limelight. Now there's a matter I'm trying to get it here to talk about it. We saw recently a report that, let me see if I get it here. A report that a minibus was stopped somewhere in the Timiri area. And a search was carried out, and they found a bag. They described the bag, and with an illegal firearm in it. They found this bag with this illegal firearm. The police arrested the driver and all the passengers. They arrested the driver and all the passengers. And what did they do? They made a release, a media release. And they named every single body that were in that bus, name and address of every single person was released. And I found that very, very unprofessional. I'm looking for the thing here, forgive me. I found it very, very unprofessional because, yes, I know it's a routine thing where you find a thing, nobody owned it, because they're saying that what happened, once they got information, they went there, and they found this bag with a gun. They asked the people in the bus to identify your bags. And of course, nobody owned up to this bag with a gun in it. So the police arrested all the ranks. All the people in the bus. And again, I nothing wrong with that on the face of it. But to then release the names and address of all those persons, all the passengers in the bus, I believe it is wrong. It is wrong. Because you must realize that there are going to be innocent people in that lot. You got to investigate. There are going to be innocent people in that lot, right? So I would have thought that the thing to do is to launch an investigation to determine who was the owner of the bag in which the gun was found. And perhaps you're going to check the bag to see if it get any documents with name, ID card, perhaps, some bill or something to try to see who the bag belongs to. Right? You would have done some forensic to find out if prints are on this gun or even on the bag, depending on what type of bag it is. And you're going to do that. But to release, to put into the media all the names of those persons who were there, innocent included, right? It is wrong. It is wrong. And that is what causes problem. That is what causes people to despise the police. Because this corporate communication unit is out of control. Out of control. How do you release the names of all those persons? Name and address. I was looking for it here, but I can't find it. The names and addresses of all the persons in that minibus. Do you not realize that perhaps it's only one person owned the bag, and there's the one person who is culpable? All those other innocent people named now in the paper. That is what you're going to do. What have they done to advance this investigation to identify who the person is? Are they still in custody? We haven't seen nothing yet. These things are wrong. These things are wrong. And I say this from a position of being a former senior police officer. Yes, we understand it clearly. The bag is found. Nobody own it. So at least temporarily, you got to hold everybody. Perhaps you want to know if anybody saw who brought the bag in, who placed the bag. Got to do that type of thing. You got to do. But to arrest, to release the names and addresses of all those persons is really, really unprofessional. Let me ring you, Mr. Connery. CC, I'm sure you would have read that. Your views, my brother.
I read it, and I was shocked, The thing is that you want to prove possession. And possession is either actual or constructive. Actual possession, where you have it on your person. Constructive, you have it elsewhere under your control. And then they're talking about the mental aspect of possession, where you intend to treat it as your own. It is elsewhere. Now here's a passengers in a minibus. Some may be in the back seat and all about the place there. I find exactly where they found this weapon in his bag. But, all right, it is your duty. You need to question everybody. Somebody might ask, some people might see if somebody come in with a bag and leave it there, as the case may be, that you need to get to the bottom of it. But don't go publish the names and addresses and the occupation of all those persons that you think there. Nonsense. Where they get it from? And then when I look at it, recently, I'm out walking to the outpost. I think it's at Amelia's Ward, where the woman said she was in the process of lodging a motorcycle without no number plate or with trade plate, and a man drove in with a vehicle, put the motorcycle in thing and utter some words and left with it. They said they're investigating. They said they found that the persons are known. They found the motorcycle at the address of one of the suspect. And no name them suspect and get name. No name whatsoever. Not even a call name. Not even a call name. And here's it. A minibus, people traveling in a minibus. They find some gun. And everybody they arrest. Okay, no, I have no issue with that. You want to get to the bottom, you want to prove possession, either actual or constructive. But you're publishing the names of all them people, the names of all those persons in the bus. Unheard of. And here's it. A man walking to a police outpost, collect a motorcycle that was in the process of lodging, put it in his vehicle, and he get a vehicle with a trade plate too. Gone his way. They say the persons are well known. They recover it. the motorcycle from they said from one of the suspect, and the suspect naga name. The man who walking there naga name, not the McCall name, but is well known. Total nonsense. Total nonsense. Publishing the names of all them then and them those persons there. Unheard of, man. Very unprofessional. That's why people losing confidence in the police force. That the public confidence in the police force gain if it ain't gone already.
Yeah. One of the students is saying here that the persons hired the minibus to go to the creek. That is what one person is saying. And I love my students, One student here, Frank, is making a very important point. They said that they received information which led them to the source. They received information. So one would have thought that the informant would have given them more clue as to identify who had this gun with this bag and this gun. Because if it is that this man come, the informant, they said they get information. So it is likely to conclude that somebody can tell them, say, hey, John Jones or Mary Smith get gun in this bag. They must have mentioned that. They're not going to come and tell you, say, oh, gun there in the minibus. But even if they told you that gun there in the minibus, you're going to try to find out who got the gun, and that type of thing. That is what would have been told. So you have to be able to cue in to who the owner of, who the owner of this bag and the gun was. That is logical thing. But I don't know what really is going on. And in relation to the incident Mr. Conway is speaking about at Amelia's ward, my information is that two or three boys were riding this motorcycle around the town on the road. Some traffic ranks saw them and took the bike into the police, the outpost compound and lodged it. This man drove into the compound, the Amelia's ward compound, with a pickup. I think they didn't get to the stage where the bike was secured. The man drove in there, pick up the motorcycle, put it in the tray of his pickup, and drove out. Tell them that they do what they want to do. And my information is, as Mr. Conway alluded to, the man is well known. Nobody can do nothing. They're publishing him. I understand they claim that they recover the motorcycle. But what happened to this man who went in there and took away the motorcycle? But I understand that the man is well known to them, and the man and them good, so to speak. They say I pass thing, when you get too close to some people, you play the puppy, you're bitten by the flea. So people have said to me, they can't talk to this man. This man is a man who is known. People further said that the vehicle that was used to take away this motorcycle is a vehicle that's parked right behind the police station every day. That is what the people say. They make no move to get that. That is what is happening. They are encouraging these I pass. Computers say, you can't pass, I pass. Them consumers say, no, now it's RAS pass. That is what is happening. Now, moving on, we got about half an hour more. Mr. Conway, I got to compliment you on a letter you published, I think it was yesterday, in the dailies, dealing with the use of force. Excellent letter, excellent letter. And might I invite you now to share some of the details with the students, especially those people who are members of the force. But before Mr. Conway comes on, let me invite you to continue to share. I may not get enough thumbs up, but continue to share the live and give me a thumbs up to show your appreciation. I will now invite Mr. Conway to tell us something about this use of force continuum that he wrote about in the letter that he published recently. CC, over to you.
Well, the letter was published in the Kaichor and Stabrook. I sent it to the other newspaper, the Chronicle and the Times and others. I don't know if they published it, but I saw copies in the Kaichor and the Stabrook News. So for those students who want, they can go back. This I'm talking about yesterday. And it arose of the concern, use of force, where the media, the social media is bombarded or is awash with incidents where police abusing and beating up people and vice versa, civilians beating up people, beating up police, abusing police. And even the Home Affairs Minister and the extended squatter at the annual police officers and annual inspectors and sergeants conference, they mention it. They talk about it, but they don't come up with any kind of solution what to do with it. And for the matter talking about the sergeants and inspectors conference, we ain't see no conference statement, We ain't know what they do. Or they said they're looking for partnership. If they want the public to be part and parcel of the policing thing, let me know what's going on, Let me know about the decision you're taking. Or back to it, You have an organization called the International Association of Commissioners of Chiefs of Police, IACP, International Association of Chiefs of Police. And I think the Ghana Police Force should be apply and become a member of that association, They're running for go to RSS and that kind of thing. That is the International Association of Chiefs of Police. And there are a lot of benefits that the Ghana Police Force can get out of that in terms of training, in terms of international best practices and things. And we talk about force, the use of force. And I ain't in a training mood. And here's what the IACP, the International Association of Chiefs of Police, here's how they define force. I'm going to read it for you. They say force, the amount of effort required by the police to compel compliance from an unwilling subject. Let me go over. The amount of force required by the police to compel compliance from an unwilling suspect. And the force could be physical, it could be chemical, it could be impact, it could be electronic, and it could be firearm force. And they talk about excessive force now. Here is the definition of excessive force. The application of an amount and or frequency of force greater than required to compel compliance from a willing or unwilling subject. Over it. The application of an amount and or frequency of force greater than required to compel compliance from a willing or unwilling subject. So there's it. We have the definition for what is force and what is excessive force. But the same association, International Association of Chiefs of Police, they have the code of conduct, or code of ethics. And it would say use of force, and the code of ethics. And I will read some of it. Here say the code of ethics of the IACP states that a police officer will never employ unnecessary force or violence and will only use such force in the discharge of the duty as is reasonable in all circumstances. In addition, force should be used only when the greatest restraint and only after discussion, negotiation, and persuasion have been found to be inappropriate or ineffective. While the use of force is occasionally unavoidable, every police officer will refrain from applying unnecessary infliction of pain or suffering and will never engage in cruel, degrading, or inhumane treatment to any person. Now, they're saying that the use of force is sometimes necessary. It's part of the police job. But determine what is reasonable is subjective. There's a case in the United States of America, and you can read it, Graham versus Connors, 1989. If you go to YouTube and check it out, Graham versus Connors, 1989. And here it says, the calculus of reasonableness must embody allowance for the fact that policemen are often forced to make, and here it is, split-second judgment, tense, uncertain, and rapidly evolving about the amount of force that's necessary in the circumstances. So the police at times are forced to make split-second decisions, and you see it sometimes on the television, in circumstances that are tense, uncertain, and rapidly evolving. And when you look at the use of force, there's what you call a force continuum. Many types exist. And here it was you see. The Federal Law Enforcement Training Agency is instructive. It has 5 levels to talk about. Level 1, and listen carefully to me, level 1 is the complainant level, where no use of force is usually reasonable. Level 2 is a restrictive or passive level, where the subject does not follow the officer's command. Force options here include guiding and directing the subject through hands-on techniques. Level 3 is a resistive or active level, which occurs when a subject actively resists arrest. Level 3 force options include joint manipulation or restraint. Level techniques, pressure points, or even OC pepper spray with a warning given force under proper circumstances. Level 4 is the assaultive body harm level, is a direct attack on an officer or others. Appropriate force options in this level include strikes with the hands, fists, elbows, or kicks, knees, kicks, baton, and forcefully directing the subject to the ground. Level 5, the assaultive or serious body harm level, where the appropriate use would be deadly force. The thing is that the police has got to will react to the suspect's action. And reacting, the force that you're using is got to be reasonable. Although sometimes deciding what is reasonable is very subjective. But it's the reasonableness of the force that you would use. There's a man called, let me get his name, a use of force expert. And he's saying that there are 3 levels, 3 things that you must, three in terms of using the force, 3 things that 3 options available to you, or you must do. You see, the use of force expert saying that when you're exercising force, remember that 1, you must go home the same way as when you went to work alive. Rule number 2, don't go to prison. Rule number 3, you need to keep your job. However, go home the same way as when you went to work, and that is alive. Number 2, you don't go to prison. And 3, you keep your job. And he's saying that and this is very important, if your use of force is reasonable, remember we're talking about use of force got to be reasonable. If your use of force is reasonable, you protect 1, yourself. 2, you protect the agency. 3, you protect the community. Protect yourself, you protect the agency, you protect the community, and you protect the assailant himself. And I say, when in doubt, remember rule number 1. Rule number 1, go home the same way as when you went to work alive. Rule number 2, you don't go to prison. And rule number 3, you keep your job. So the whole thing is about the reasonableness of the force. And remember, the police got to make split-second decision in situations that are tough, that are evolving, changing rapidly. And your use of force has got to be reasonable. And we're talking about use of force, lethal force, non-lethal force, less than lethal force. I've been saying all the time that the police in Guyana, most times when they go out on duty, they go on with lethal force, they go on with a gun. They don't get no button or things, they arm with a gun. So the only thing that they could use there is a gun that they would use. And the situation we're seeing on the television, on the social media, is very alarming. Police beating up civilians, civilians beating up police. And it boils down to proper training. And it boils down that the police must have a written policy. They must have a written policy dealing with use of force. And persons must be trained. It must be disseminated at all levels, that everybody know about it. And I've been mentioning all the time, and they got to do anger management. They got to do conflict resolution. They got to do effectively dealing with people They got to be able to do self-defense. They got to be able to do unarmed combat. And all these things would enable them to use force reasonable. Because jump high, jump low, there are times that you have to use force. But the force has got to be reasonable. Yes, there are times you use lethal force. There are times you use non-lethal force. There are times you use a deadly force. But the whole thing boils down to being reasonable. And the reasonableness is the thing that is missing with the Guyana police force.
Well said, my brother. Well said. I hope they're taking these things in, Hope they're taking, forget about the messenger. Forget about who the messenger is or who the messengers are. Listen and learn. There is a use of force continuum. Somebody talk about the training, the Guyana police. Well, what about minimum force? That is the doctrine. What we talk about there, that 5-step that Mr. Conway just highlighted, there minimum force in it, right? Where hands-on at first, and then you escalate depending on the circumstances. What we saw in Maikoni a few weeks ago, where those 2 men were shot and killed, how are you going to justify that as minimum as a minimum force? Men throwing sand at you. The men do a man who is said to be a one-song man throwing sand, and you open fire, multiple shots, killing 2 men. The man who was throwing and some man who was trying to subdue him. You cannot justify that. You cannot. And that is where the training comes in. And the alarming thing is that since them incident occurred, you don't hear anything about it now. We spoke at the beginning of this program about Sergeant Alex Van, shot and killed since the 12th of March 2024, a police sergeant on duty. And up to now, you ain't hear nothing. That is what is giving fuel to all of these things. That every day now you're seeing on social media, some of them, of course, are the older ones, some confrontation between police and civilian. You saw the last day we played only police and civilian now. A constable in a police outpost cussing up a sergeant. That is what it has become. And you ain't hear nothing further about it. And these things, as we pointed out, you have to have SOP written. That is thing where it's called, the squatter like to tell you, oh, the SOP, when there is none. You must have an SOP. And if you have a SOP, it simply means that everybody, you got to go through the stage. Back in the day, we know you get publication in force orders, where everybody, you get instruction classes to make sure that people are aware of what the policy, especially if it's a new policy. You have to make sure that everybody know. But they're not doing these things now, and that's part of the problem. I saw recently, they proudly announced the graduation of a couple dozen of trainees coming out of the training school. Several courses graduated at the same time. Several courses amounting to, I think, 70-something people. When I passed out from the training school in 1974, it was 250-something of us at the same time, having spent 6 months in the training school. All the training you have to go through. You have to go and walk beat. You have to go walk traffic. All of these things. But these things are fallen through. And I'm saying, we are saying that if you want to restore standards in the force, those are some of the things. Training. You can't expect the policemen to go out there and know. Even when you pass through training school, it takes some time. That is why the system allows for the first 2 years, you're a probationer. You're not a full-fledged policeman. And then you go for your final training. You go for a final training. And then you become a full-fledged police constable. All of those things you got to look at. They talk about academy. The academy they have is like the comedy show. You know, they got a show, I love it, back in the day, Police Academy. Yeah, that is what they have. A lot of comedy. A lot of comedy, which is not the way to go. Which is not the way to go. You're talking about this new arrangement and all the emerging this and the emerging that. They're supposed to set up island gas section in the force. To do what? To do what? That is what the squad announced at the annual officers conference. They're setting up an island gas unit. They're telling us I was setting up an air wing. Air wing to do what? Police don't set up air wing to do what? That is the questions they should ask. And yet still people are still complaining. As we saw the other day, somebody wrote a letter. People robbed them And it's taking hours and hours for the police to come, from 4 hours before the police responded. Those are the things you have to address. Those are the things you have to address. Look at the Amelia's Ward incident when the man went in there and took away the bike. My information is that maybe the female alone was on duty. And I have said it before, these outposts that they're establishing is a waste of time. The outpost that they are establishing is a waste of time. Because when you have an outpost with 1 or even 2 persons, what can they do? When a report comes in, let's assume that 2 persons are at the station, or even say 3. A report comes in, and 2 respond to the report. Kayanga send 1 person a report, 2 respond. So 1 body left at the station. You think that is safe? That person is safe? These are some of the considerations that what you have. President goes around, as he did with Boda. Oh, we want an outpost here by Thursday, by weekend. And boop, they put on an outpost. They put on an outpost. A waste of time. Have they done an analysis? Ben is the home affairs man. Have they done an analysis to determine the effectiveness of these outposts that they put in on? One that Maripo I saw, the one in recently in Boda Market, and so many other little outposts. I'm not talking about what we call an established outpost like Incompetence that get general duty ranks, even detectives and so on. We're talking about they put on some container and say, well, that is an outpost. How effective? They had one just outside Bonisi Wall, just outside police headquarters, outpost. That is what is going on. Political decisions without any clear rationale, really, any clear thought. That is what is going on. And that is what is going to continue to bring a lot of problems. Now, I know some of you, people have said to me, let me bring in Mr. Conway to say something more on that, and then we're going to move on. As we try to, as we are closing into the show time.
Just rushing back to my corner, you know, where 2 persons were killed by the police there. We said we had 2 different shooters, 2 policemen shot, and lo and behold, one was promoted from sergeant to inspector. One was promoted to sergeant. We hear nothing more about that investigation. Paul, I had to smile when you mentioned the graduation ad. I think they said about 90 persons graduated, 3 courses. Some were in there since May last year, somewhere in there since April last year. And I see they give out awards, and I want to know how they did the assessment. Best student, runner-up, classrooms, best classroom student, best drill student. And there was a woman, best classroom student, best drill student. You expect by then she should have gotten the runner-up or the best student. All she got is best classroom, best student, best drill student, full stop. How is it that? If I'm the best classroom student, I'm the best drill student, at least you could give me a runner-up. I myself a runner-up if I'm not supposed to be the best student. But more about that in a later episode, and more about what they call the college in a latest episode, you know. That they're just bluffing around with training. That's what they're doing. Bluffing around with training. I'm talking about academy. They got academy that ain't get no department. But it's the only one in the world, an academy with no department.
Yes, my brother, yes. And let me say this as we are closing out. You know, some students have said to me that tape about corruption, we should play it every single day. Every day. Because don't let me hide and think. Don't let me hide. Corruption is rampant in Guyana. And the government has reluctantly admitted that they get corruption. But they're pointing finger everywhere else. They're pointing finger all over the place. But remember, when you point one finger, several pointing back at you. Corruption all over. All over. And remember, when we talk about corruption, the wide definition is not necessarily that you're taking money, you know. You ain't got to take money to be corrupt. Policies can be a source of corruption. right? Favoritism, all this part of a corrupt process. All that, even though we know in the Guyanese context, is money passing, favors passing, there's corruption. Money passing, favors passing, yeah, you, yeah, me, quid pro quo, that's what's going on. Corruption, and they don't want to, well, now, as I've said, they're coming around, but they're trying to use all sort of euphemism and so on. Corruption, rife, all part of the country. Even though people point out, maybe police, in almost every single department, if you were to examine it, you get corruption. From the top right down to the bottom. I'll try to play this tape that people have asked me to play frequently. Here we go.
Corruption is a vile disease that sucks and drains the health out of something good. Corruption in society is an evil moral infection that keeps community in a state of perpetual sickness. Corruption is a moral virus. It's so potent it leaves its host sick, lethargic, and unable to realize and accomplish all that a well person can. Where corruption thrives, poverty and not prosperity thrives. Wealth is grabbed into the greedy, grubby hands of those who get fat on the toil and labor of good people. Corruption benefits, only temporarily, those who participate in it. Everyone else is a victim of the theft, the deceit, the dishonesty, and the lies that corruption feeds on. You need to know that a corrupt person is stealing from you. Corruption is filthy work and despicable acts of treachery done under the table and behind closed doors. Corruption is a disgusting shame. Corruption keeps a nation back from true development and from progress. Wise investors steer clear of a corrupt environment. They would rather put their resources into a place where the playing field of opportunity is equal for all and not bent towards feeding the financial lust of corrupt, lying, cheating, thieving politicians and government officials. How many wonderful development projects have been lost because the investors didn't want to do business in a swamp of evil? When those great projects go to another nation or to some other place, we all lose. Believe me when I tell you that corruption steals from you, it steals from all of us. Corruption plunders the nation's wealth. Corrupt people compromise on truth, equity, and fairness, choosing instead to feed off the short-term benefits of crookedness, exploitation, and financial perversion. Corruption is not just a personal matter. It's a culture. It's a way of life, not just for individual people, but for companies, communities, governments, and nations. Corrupt nations, hiding behind large companies, will seek to invest in other weak nations in order to take over the assets of the nation that they've invested into. They will provide financial loans to a nation for the much needed infrastructure, and they will do it with assets that they provide. They will sign contracts by lining the pockets of rotten government officials who participate in this kind of corruption and are then held hostage by their own deceit and greed. Corruption is nothing less than a form of theft and national robbery. A corrupt person steals from everyone in society. We all lose when corruption is rampant. Those who participate in corruption have chosen evil over good, lies over truth, and personal gain over well-being of all. To be corrupt means to be rotten. When meat is corrupt, it's rotten, and it stinks. Rotten meat can't be eaten. When a person is corrupt, he's rotten and unfit for a place in the community. A corrupt person should be jailed in order to protect society from the vile deeds of the corrupt person. Government should be protecting us from the foul results of corruption instead of being the proponents and participants in corruption. When corruption is systemic, when it's a culture and a way of life, when corruption thrives, it destroys the health of the community and nation. Now let me tell you something. Defeating corruption is a very difficult thing. The love of money is the root of all evil, the Bible says. People who love money will do almost anything to get it. Those who choose to stand up against corruption, you need to know that we're going to be involved in a war. We will be threatened, vilified, intimidated, marginalized, and ridiculed. These kind of people who stand up against corruption will often feel alone, as if they are the problem instead of the solution. Corruption can only be defeated when enough people have had enough and decide to do something about it.
Corruption, that is what it is. And it is rampant in Guyana. Let me, I'm going to give you your therapy, and then I'm going to bring in Mr. Conway. Can't allow y'all not to get your daily dose. It is important that you get, but before you give you your daily dose, when we talk about corruption, listen to this. Listen to this.
The owner of Cyril's transportation service, Mashankar Prasad, was arrested by the police last week after he reportedly opened fire on a vehicle, believing that the vehicle might have been one that was apparently stolen from his company. Although the incident took place almost 2 weeks ago, the police only provided information on the incident today after being questioned by reporters. The police said on the afternoon of the 2nd of December, at the corner of Drury Lane and Lamaha Streets, the businessman whipped out his licensed firearm and fired a shot to the back of the vehicle, hitting one of the wheels and forcing the driver to stop. The police said the businessman has claimed that 2 of his Toyota Prado vehicles were stolen earlier in the year and have never been recovered. He said that on the day in question, he received information that a vehicle fitting the description of one that was allegedly stolen from him was spotted in the Lamaha Street area. Prasad admitted to the investigators that he tracked down the vehicle and discharged a shot at it when he noticed it along Lamaha Street. He said when he approached the vehicle, he recognized the driver and then realized that the vehicle was not one that was stolen from him. The vehicle reportedly belongs to the ExxonMobil company and is used for transporting one of the company's top executives. It is unclear whether the company official was in the vehicle at the time. News source understands that since the incident, the ExxonMobil company has banned the businessman from accessing any of their properties, and his contract with the company may now be in jeopardy. The police report stated that a spent shell was discovered at the scene, and the businessman was forced to lodge his firearm with the police as he is assisting with the investigations that are ongoing.
See, we talk about corruption. There's corruption too. Since December, we have more than anything further. Since December, we're not aware what has happened to this matter. They said they seized the firearm. The firearm should have been revoked. There's recklessness. You saw the vehicle, did he inform the police? It's recklessness, that's what we're talking about. When we talk about corruption, it includes all of that. Because December, all of December, January, February, almost the end of the March, what is taking so long? Well, corruption, for all you know, they took action, but they're not going to inform the public as to what action they took. That's the problem. Certain things that just jump at breakneck speed, and the police corporate communication unit and them, newsroom and them get it there a long time. Certain other matters, that is not to be made public, not to be made public. And here, what is for the corruption? Listen to this. More corruption.
Imbat, the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Labour, May Thomas, is still on the government's payroll months after she was sent on leave after being sanctioned by the U.S. government for her involvement in corruption. This was disclosed by Vice President Barry Jagdeo at his weekly press conference.
Yes, she's still on leave and she's receiving pay.
You would recall that the United States government, through its Department of Treasury, announced that Nazar Mohammed and his son Azruddin Mohammed, along with Permanent Secretary Thomas, were all sanctioned for their involvement in corruption. Thomas, who served as Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Home Affairs for a period of 3 years, was moved to the Ministry of Labour after she was stopped and questioned and her phone seized by U.S. officials at the JFK airport. Following the revelations by the United States Department of Treasury, the government of Guyana sent the PS on leave immediately. Following the announcement of the sanctions, the government had requested information from the U.S. on the issue. While Thomas was sent on administrative leave, she however resigned from the leadership of the People's Progressive Party with claims that she did not want to bring the party into disrepute.
Yeah, corruption.
Sit there and fabricate that. Unless you say who the person is, I can't comment on anonymous people.
Okay, well, let's talk about specific individuals. What is your relationship with Mr. Su Jurong?
So my relationship? Nothing. He's a tenant in my place, yeah.
And he's a good friend of yours?
Yes, he is a friend of ours.
He claims
a friend of ours. Corruption. Here more the last piece of corruption for thing.
You who are out there, if they come, we gotta shoot and scoot. And shoot good and scoot. And keep shooting and scooting until help arrives.
I gotta get you your therapy. Mr. Conway, your closing remarks, please.
This thing appeared to be going under the carpet, What are we doing in relation to this border controversy issue? I understand there's some quiet diplomacy. One thing is enough. But what about intelligence? What about military? What about we looking at what will happen in the economy in case we attack? Like a dying a natural death. This is serious thing we talking about the territorial integrity of Guyana. We talking about 2/3 of Guyana, Venezuela thing, and we there easy, being doing nothing. I mentioned before and I repeat several times that we gotta look at our dime or diplomacy or intelligence or military and our economy. We ain't doing one thing but it. We ain't doing anything but it. It's just remain dormant. Perhaps we're waiting for let me don't say it because sometimes when I say things will happen. Let me scoot away, Paul.
Yeah, scoot. Thank you, my brother. Thank you. Folks, that thing about the border controversy is something that we're not hearing anything about. And we have said before, yeah, you have to have diplomacy, but then you have to make sure that our people in Guyana are kept abreast of what is going on. We ain't hearing nothing. Be leaving it to Ralph Gonzalez, from St. Vincent, the man who they said broker the Argyle Accord. I understand based on the thing, Venezuela sometime around now is this weekend or when we're supposed to have an election for the governor as a cable. Bernard said any Guyanese who took part in that gonna be charged with treason and so on. What does that mean? What does that mean? Tell us. What does that mean? We don't know. And we want to know because we ought to be prepared. We ought to be made aware and prepared. But nothing is happening. And when you talk about it, they bring out a dinosaur, Kit Nastimento, to come and shoot you down to say, you ain't talking this, and like he did, or he attempted to do with the letter written by Mark Archer, which I thought was a well-written letter because he spoke about the strategy in the past. Every citizen is a soldier. People were trained, I remember as a young constable back in 76, I think it was, early 76. People training with firearms and so on. So in case there was an attack, we had people. You're telling people shoot and scoot. Who can shoot and scoot? You know that if they could shoot, maybe they're able to scoot and shoot a bucket, as the man said. But all of these things, one would have expected. You would have had a more robust campaign, internal campaign. Not to say you're going to fight Venezuela, but in case anything, you're able to defend yourself and people are aware of what they got to do, but nothing, absolutely nothing. President made a statement some time ago, because I think it was on the 4th of March or so, that naval vessel from Venezuela came in and to the oil rig, and I think the next day a statement was made, nothing thereafter that I'm aware of, nothing. And that is the problem. That is the problem. So, folks, we have so much more that we wanted to talk about. You might have heard that from August 1, the government announced Sunday at Babu Jan during the birth anniversary of Chedi Jagan that from 1st August, no tolls at the Bobby's Bridge, the Demara Bridge, and the Wisma Bridge. And people have reacted to that. And people have asked the question, was this something that sat down and planned the economic consequences and all that? I don't think so. something off the cuff, political season off the cuff. No thought would have gone into that. How that is going to be operationalized, nobody know. I don't think. Because we haven't seen anything. We haven't seen anything. But that is the type of thing you can come to expect during this period. And tomorrow, when the mighty Duke comes out with Woman Bacchanal, you know the tune? I tell you, Ali, I must go on YouTube and listen to the song, you know. Woman Bacchanal, Mighty Duke. It was a big bacchanal just the other day with Ineda and Shemakume. Big comments the other day with Ineda and Shemakume. I don't want to waste so passing straight. A fella pull me and tell me, wait, listen to it yourself, man. Same time he did husband come off the bus. And it's now the Makume start to cuss. You got your cuss. You got to hear about it. Slack Bokta. And all them you got to hear about it. Imagine this is that was to be an official press conference. People talking about shit in bucket. People talking about Slack Bokta. People talking about Queen in prison and all sort of things to talk about. But I tell you about Sue. You're not going to talk about Sue. I'm going to tell Sue. I'm not talking about the SUE, the legal action. I'm talking about Sue Girang. You know, I hear about that. The man who claimed that the vice president takes $500,000 US. That's the allegation. No investigation. You're not going to hear about that. Folks, we have come to the end of today's program. Good attendance, both in the schoolyard and in the classroom, right? I would a little peeve that you all like more and you all share more, but we had reasonable attendance. And as you see there, those of you who are inclined to make a contribution, please do so. And let me remind you before we close, Friday, that is the day after tomorrow, Melissa at 12 Melimel is scheduled to come up before for some hearing. They said that is not a trial, down to what I've read. It's not a trial. It's just some part of this process where I guess they're going to talk about bond and all of that. And yesterday, at the Square of the Revolution, they had another meeting there. They call it Solidarity Meeting. So I haven't seen, the last time they had, Chronicle came out the next day, and they characterized that gathering as a rally against the U.S. immigration policy. That's how they characterize it. I'm not going to characterize the one yesterday. I don't know. Right? So we are scheduled again for Monday, God's willing. So by the time we come again, is at the end of the month. Monday is what day? Monday is almost into, let me check. When we come again Monday, Monday is what? So that's going to be our next program on Monday, which is going to be the 31st day, going to be the last day in the month. And we are going to, God's willing, everything is up to the maker. You know, enough of them and believe, you know. Enough of them and believe. But we as believers know that all things are through him. If he wills us to come here on Monday, we will be here. If he decides that we can't make it, then we're not going to make it. Because as we say, man appoints, but God disappoints. So folks, stay well until we meet again. And again, I got to tell you, even though we are scheduled for Monday, if something, you know, these bombshell things that come up, we're going to come again and we're going to bring it to you. But the next scheduled program is Monday at 11. Until then, stay well. Bye.